Hi, I'm immigration attorney Heather Poole. The following is an excerpt from an interview about one of my clients' immigration cases. Trusting an immigration attorney with your case can be scary. There's often so much at stake. The story featured here is just a sample of some of our cases for clients who took the leap and trusted us with their future. These are real comments from real people, but the names have been changed to protect their confidentiality. I hope you find this information helpful and demonstrates that you are not alone in this. And even in some of the toughest circumstances, you may have options, and hope is not lost. Remember, it is extremely important to speak with an immigration attorney about your case before you start it to determine what issues you could face that could result in a denial or even a removal from the United States. For more information about me, stay tuned until the end of the video to learn more about my extensive experience in this area. I remember I had a couple in Boston who I helped obtain a green card for the immigrant spouse who entered the U.S. on a C-1 visa. Certain types of C-1 visas are not eligible for adjustment of status, which is the green card process in the United States. The couple had been repeatedly told by multiple attorneys that the Brazilian spouse had to return to his country and was not eligible for adjustment. This meant he would have had to consular process and apply for a waiver of the 10-year bar at one of the toughest CIS offices in the world, Lima, Peru, and they faced a potential separation of 10 years. Although I knew a waiver was feasible for them, it was still risky, so I wanted to prevent him from having to leave, and I knew I could find another way. I knew that there was no uniform policy among local CIS offices on the interpretation of a C-1 visa holder's ability to adjust, and I warned the couple that they would have to fight for this eligibility, but felt strongly that the law was on their side. As suspected, when I flew to Boston and appeared with my clients at their adjustment interview, the CIS officer informed us that the Brazilian spouse was not eligible to obtain his green card in the U.S. because of his C-1 entry. I argued the law with the officer and bought time for our clients to be able to brief the issue, so the officer would take it to her supervisor and the legal counsel in charge of that district office. This extended our client's right to work in the United States, to continue working with authorization and stay in the United States legally while the fight continued. I successfully argued that the law only bars the crewman type of C-1 visa from adjustment. I submitted a brief outlining the law and proved that a C-1 in transit type of visa, which the immigrant spouse entered on, could adjust in the United States. He was never a crewman or member of a ship, the type of C-1 that can't get their green card in the U.S. 6 months later, the green card case was approved. The immigrant spouse was able to return home to Brazil with his wife, with his green card in tow, to visit his mother, who he had not seen in years because of his overstay. It was a great outcome, and my clients wrote a great thank you letter. Here it is.
We chose Heather to represent us because through internet research, we heard Heather was one of the 2 best lawyers in the country for waiver cases, and we were afraid our case might turn into one of those. We spoke with Heather and found her to be empathetic and also professional. We turned to Heather for our complicated marriage-based immigration case when other lawyers told us there was no hope for an adjustment of status. They told us we should give up. Heather was able to win our case successfully because of her wide knowledge base, her plentiful experience in immigration law, and her willingness to put in the work to do the necessary legal research. She and her office staff always treated us with kindness and respect and charged us a very reasonable fee for her services. We felt very well prepared. She does not create false expectations, but rather gives a clear idea of the possible outcomes in your situation. It is clear that she practices immigration law out of a true desire to help people. You changed our lives and did what others attorneys told us could not be done.
I am an expert in complex family-based immigration cases and have a 98% approval rate for the past 12 years. I am a nationally published immigration author and frequent public speaker on immigration topics. I regularly train other immigration lawyers on complicated marriage and family immigration cases for the American Immigration Lawyers Association, Federal Bar Association, and National Legal Education Providers. I represent clients all over the U.S., traveling to immigration interviews and deportation proceedings. Visit our website, humanrightsattorney.com, for more in-depth information and articles on complex family immigration issues.